Most people today think a fabric shelter in winter is a death sentence. Thin walls, open fires, sub-zero temperatures, and predators roaming in the dark sound like a recipe for disaster. Yet, for thousands of years, Native American families slept through winters brutal enough to kill the unprepared in a single night. Children, elders, and entire households survived not by luck, but by systems refined through generations of hard experience. These were not survival tricks. They were cold weather methods so effective they turned fabric shelters into livable homes in deadly environments. And once you understand how they worked, modern winter survival starts to look painfully inefficient. If you care about real history, real survival knowledge, and lessons that still matter today, you're in the right place. Take a second to like this video, share it with someone who thinks survival is just gear, drop a comment with which technique surprised you most, and subscribe to Warfront Survival for grounded, no-nonsense history that actually teaches you something. Now, let's get into how Native American winter camps stayed warm when mistakes meant death. Choosing the wrong camp location meant dying before morning. Before a single pole was raised, survival was decided by where camp was placed. Native American winter camps were never set up randomly. Wind exposure was the primary killer, so locations were chosen behind tree lines, rock faces, or natural rises that blocked prevailing winter gusts. Even a slight elevation change mattered because cold air sinks. Being 10 feet higher on a slope could mean warmer nights and less frostbite. Valleys offered protection, but only when they weren't frost traps. Access to water, firewood and game had to exist without drawing predators directly into camp. Firewood availability wasn't a convenience. Running out during a storm meant certain death. Packed snow became part of the insulation system rather than something avoided. Ground was stomped flat and hardened to prevent deep freezing beneath the shelter and to stop meltwater from flooding floors later. Campsites were chosen with long winters in mind, not short comfort. The indoor fire was a controlled heating system, not a gamble. A Tipi fire was engineered, not improvised. The fire pit sat directly in the center to distribute heat evenly. It stayed shallow, so heat rose instead of sinking into the ground. Smoke flaps at the top weren't decorative. They were adjustable ventilation controls that responded to shifting wind, creating a chimney effect that pulled smoke up and out. Low vents fed oxygen to the fire while preventing cold air from sweeping through the shelter. Only dry wood was used. Wet wood produced suffocating smoke and unpredictable sparks. Fires were stacked vertically to burn clean and hot. Someone always tended the flames. That role mattered as much as guarding children or watching for predators. A poorly managed fire could burn down the shelter or suffocate everyone inside. Survival depended on stopping the ground from stealing body heat. Cold doesn't just come from the air. It rises from frozen earth and drains heat from sleeping bodies all night long. Native American bedding systems were designed to defeat that threat. Thick layers of willow mats, dry grasses and woven plant material created air pockets that blocked conductive heat loss. On top of that went furs, placed hairside up to trap warmth, while the hide blocked drafts. In some regions, compacted soil beds were used. Earth was packed until dense and warmed by daytime sun or nearby fires, slowly releasing heat overnight. Beds were shaped into shallow depressions that cradled bodies and trapped warm air. Families often slept together because shared body heat multiplied the effectiveness of every other insulation layer. Clothing and body heat were managed like fuel, not fashion. People didn't strip down to sleep. They layered strategically. Soft hides against the skin managed moisture, while fur layers trapped heat. Outer layers blocked drafts. Hands and feet were wrapped or tucked against the body's core, where blood flow was strongest. Sweat was avoided during the day because, well, damp clothing at night could kill even inside a warm shelter. Light activity before bed raised internal body temperature without causing sweating. This heat carried into sleep, reducing the fire's workload and stabilizing body warmth through the coldest hours. Animal fat and ash turned exposed skin into insulation. When cold reached dangerous levels, exposed skin received extra protection. Rendered animal fat was rubbed onto faces, hands, and other vulnerable areas to block wind and trap warmth. Different fats were chosen for different needs, from thick buffalo tallow to lighter bird fat for sensitive areas. Fine hardwood ash was sometimes mixed in, creating a wind-resistant, heat-absorbing layer that stayed effective for hours. Leather wraps soaked in fat were placed on wrists, ankles and necks where major blood vessels ran close to the surface. Protecting those pulse points really helped keep the core temperature stable. Children and elders were protected through positioning and sacrifice. Those least able to generate heat were placed closest to the fire and wrapped in the deepest bedding. Adults positioned themselves around them, blocking drafts and directing body heat inward. Heated stones, wrapped in hide, provided targeted warmth for feet and backs. Night checks were constant. Someone was always awake to monitor breathing warmth and fire balance. Survival demanded vigilance, not comfort. Predator defense was built into camp design. Winter predators were desperate. Dogs served as early warning systems trained to signal different threats. Weapons were placed for instant access. Snow barriers and camp layout funneled animals into detectable paths. Every family member knew what to do when danger approached because hesitation could be fatal. These systems worked together. Remove one and survival collapsed. Add them all and fabric shelters became winter homes capable of sustaining life through the harshest conditions on Earth. If this kind of real survival history matters to you, make sure you're subscribed to Warfront Survival. Share this with someone who thinks survival is just expensive gear, and drop a comment letting us know which technique deserves more attention. Knowledge like this kept families alive, and it still matters today.